What's up, you guys? Michael here. Let's talk a little bit about minimalism. It's quite a hot topic right now, especially on YouTube. And I'm not going to necessarily go into the extreme here. I'm not going to suggest that you guys go live in a tiny house off the grid somewhere and ration off rice and beans every single meal of the day, although that will probably save you a lot of money if you do it. But that's not for the majority of you guys watching out there. So let's just talk about the top 10 things that you guys are probably wasting your money on today. And if we scale back on some of these items, you could end up saving hundreds, if not thousands of extra dollars per month that could help you guys reach your financial goals. Now, in order to help me reach some of my goals here on YouTube, if you guys don't mind, if you find some value in this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and do subscribe below if you want to see similar content in the future. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it, guys. Here are the top 10 things that you guys may or may not be wasting your money on today. Number 10 is buying new. And buying new could be all sorts of different categories, but a couple of them that jump to mind are buying new cars, buying new furniture. Now, for buying a car new, you guys have probably heard the phrase that nothing depreciates faster than a new car as soon as you drive it off the lot. And that really couldn't be more true. If you go online right now and look up brand new cars at the dealership near you, and then also look at a used car or a certified pre-owned vehicle that has only maybe 5 or 10,000 miles on it, same year, same make, same model, all that good stuff, and it's likely gonna be a few $1,000s cheaper. So do you really need that brand new car with 0 miles on it off the lot, or would you be willing to sacrifice a few thousand miles with somebody else driving it before you and saving a lot of money? Now, buying furniture new, I know I'm guilty of it. I've bought a lot of furniture new in the past, but recently my wife and I have been scavenging Facebook Marketplace. And the reason why is we actually started to sell furniture when we started buying rental properties that had furniture in them already. It came with the purchase, and we started to realize how quickly you could sell furniture and sell it cheap at a discount because we needed to get it off our hands. So then we started to think, well, can we not just buy furniture? We could buy decor, we could buy all sorts of household items on places like Facebook Marketplace. You could go on Craigslist, but Facebook Marketplace is going to be your best bet to find and all sorts of different things in your local community. But you can find furniture for maybe 80 to 90% discount. A lot of furniture may not even be used very much. It was just collecting dust in someone's house. Maybe they're moving to a different state for a new job and they just need to get rid of it. So that's the reason that you guys can hunt for great deals and honestly buy really nice furniture at a huge discount. And what's even better about this is instead of just going and buying MSRP, you can negotiate everything on Facebook Marketplace. And most people are willing to come down like 20 to 50% of their asking value. They know people are going to negotiate, so they already listed at a premium to what they're willing to sell it for. So worst case scenario is you don't come to a particular deal on an item and move on to the next, but you can also practice your negotiation skills here. Now, number 9 is kind of a segue on from number 10, which is your car. And I'm not necessarily talking about just buying new versus buying used, but I was guilty of this too. I bought a dream truck that I really wanted for a long time a few years ago, and I knew I could afford it. I kept a monthly budget, so I knew it wasn't the cost that was super prohibitive, although it was more than I probably should have spent. I'll admit that now. But ultimately, I paid it off in 2 years instead of 5. So that was great for me. I felt really good about it. But the amount of money I spent in those 2 years paying off that truck, if I had just invested it in the stock market or in real estate, that I am today, I could have bought that truck or maybe 2 of those trucks cash just 2 years later. So let that sink in next time you're about to splurge on maybe a dream car in your, in your 20s or 30s, what that money could be doing for you if you invested it instead of buying, your dream car, for example. Additionally, there's been a big movement of people just not having cars. With the availability of rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft, and also public transportation, and honestly a lot of people working remote now, they barely use their cars. So it's not just the car payment each month. Think about how much you're paying in insurance. It's probably around $100, sometimes upwards of $200 a month, depending on the type of car you have and the area you live in. Think about the gas, think about the maintenance costs every year, oil changes, tire rotations, if you need to fix something up on the engine, things like that. So if you guys can eliminate some of those costs, it may actually be financially beneficial to just Uber everywhere around town or just take public transport, ride a bike, and actually not have to have a car and not worry about that. So it's just an option to think about. It doesn't really make sense for those who have a long commute to work and maybe live in the suburbs, but for those that live close to work or live in the city, you guys could probably completely eliminate the car payment and every cost that comes with owning a car in the first place. Number 8 is rent. Now, the vast majority of people, what do you do as soon as you get a pay raise or boost your monthly income? You think, well, I'm gonna reward myself, right? Again, not just buy a nicer car, but I wanna move into a nicer place to live. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've done this several times, and the last time that we rented was in Austin, Texas, and we spent way too much money on the apartment there. We met a ton of great people in the apartment complex, so like no regrets as far as that's concerned, but it was around $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. It was close to town, which was great, but we could have lived 5 minutes further outside of town in maybe a less desirable place that was still, you know, exactly what we needed, and we could have probably saved $800 a month. Now, if we invested $800 a month, you guys can go onto compound interest calculator, whatever you want to do, and see what that type of money could have done for us over the past several years. It would have just been probably much more financially beneficial for us to take the difference and invest that money. Or again, if we wanted to travel more, we could have had an extra few $100s a month to do something like that. Now, separate from rent, when you guys are ready to buy a house and take on a mortgage, I just did a recent video on a detailed step-by-step guide on how to actually go from A to Z and close on buying your first house. So if you guys want to check out that video, do so. I also talk in that video about, you know, the monthly cost, right? How much of a mortgage are you willing to take on? Try to keep that cost less than 30% of your net income, just as a ballpark reference. Just like having a big car payment, if you guys are forking up a ton of your money every single month toward your house and you barely have enough money to invest, let alone just pay for your other living expenses, what's the point of even living there if it's just going to make you stressed out every single month and just worried about money all the time? So again, don't be house poor, don't be car poor, don't be rent poor. These are all things that could actually save us the most money each month. Number 7, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves with people, is buying single bottles of water or other, you know, beverages, for example, at a gas station, let alone buying, you know, a 12-pack or a 30-pack of water or sodas or something like that at Walmart. You really only need water to survive. I know I'm guilty of it too. Every once in a while I'll grab a Gatorade or a soda if I'm feeling crazy. Next time you guys are in a gas station or at the checkout for a grocery store, if there's like a little fridge there, look at the individual price for a single bottle of water or soda or whatever. And then compare that to when you go to Walmart and find a 30-pack of water, or maybe even more, Costco, Sam's Club, something like that, and look how much it costs for that entire pack of water. I guarantee you it's around $4, maybe even $3 for the 30-pack of water. So you guys are spending an incredible amount of money just to have a single bottle of water, when 1, you could just get a 30-pack and save on every single bottle of water that you drink, or 2, and it's probably cleaner for the environment and all that good stuff, you're not using plastic over and over again, is just buy a reusable water bottle and just fill it up, you know, with tap water at the house, or if you have a, you know, a water spout in the fridge, something like that. Money waster number 6 is personal care products. And I'm not as guilty of this as a lot of people are. I'm really not. I don't really care all that much. Not that I have bad hygiene per se, but I don't splurge on, you know, name brand shampoo, conditioner, soap, face wash, or anything like that. I'm pretty basic with just a bar of soap and a 2-in-1, you know, Head and Shoulders shampoo and conditioner bottle. But it's not just that, it's cologne, it's perfume. These items are some of the highest margin items in, you know, the health and beauty industry. Think cologne and perfume. If you guys have ever gone out shopping for, you know, something that makes you smell good when you go out on Friday or Saturday nights, a little bottle of that maybe has like 8 ounces in it, or maybe even like 2 ounces in it, costs anywhere from $80 to maybe $200 per bottle. It can't cost them more than a few dollars to manufacture that. So just think about that, and think about every time you spritz some of that on yourself, that's just pissing money away. Again, I'm not saying don't buy these things, but I would say limit them, or maybe just not splurge on some of these name brands just because they have the name and you see it on the commercials. There's other things that'll make you smell good out there, guys. So again, try and avoid spending hundreds of dollars on these type of products, especially like the smaller products that you notice, oh, I washed my face 6 times and the bottle's gone, oops, gotta buy another one. That stuff just racks up every single month. Money waster number 5, kind of branching off number 6, but this is just specifically name brands and specifically around items like the grocery store, alcohol even, clothing, furniture. Now, a lot of these things you guys can probably just buy store brand, right? Think Kroger versus buying the name brand product, and they sit right next to each other on the shelf, but the Kroger brand is probably gonna be a few cents per item cheaper, or maybe a dollar or two per item cheaper. So that stuff adds up over the course of the year. So for certain things, I don't know, think like brown rice or maybe canned beans. You guys, there's probably a 99.9% chance if I put that in front of you cooked, you would have no idea what the difference is, and I'm not even a good cook. Now for alcohol, this one cracks me up. Some of my friends were over here a couple weeks ago and we were drinking some wine, and they said they used to do a wine taster test every week with their friends, and everyone would bring over either a cheap bottle of wine or maybe a more, mid-priced bottle of wine, and they would do blind tastings. So you'd have to try to figure out which wine was the most expensive, and about half the time, the cheapest wine was the winner. So guys, alcohol, it doesn't have to be wine, but you guys don't have to go splurge on top shelf whiskey or tequila if you're just gonna make mixed drinks, especially if you're out at the bar. What's the point of splurging on a top shelf whiskey or tequila unless you just got it like that, money-wise? I almost guarantee you if you put just like the house brand and then maybe a higher end tequila in front of you, you're probably not gonna really notice that much of a difference, especially if it's in a mixed drink. Also with clothing, think about this. If you guys go to the store and you buy a name brand, or even if you go to an outlet store at a small discount and buy name brand stuff like Nike or Ralph Lauren or anything, look at how much it costs, and then just walk over to the neighborhood Ross store or Walmart. But specifically Ross, they actually have a lot of the name brand stuff, but it's just like consignment prices. I mean, they're getting this product that just didn't sell at the stores because they're, like Nike, for example, is churning new product every single month, if not every single week. And so all the extra product gets sold at a high discount to places like Ross, and then they in turn sell it at like an 80 to 90% MSRP discount there. For example, I just bought a new pair of Nike golf shoes, and I don't golf that much, but I did need a pair of golf shoes. I was kind of slipping and sliding around the course last few times I went. So I was like, where can I get a cheap pair of golf shoes that are still functional? Went to Ross, and there was a pair of Nikes that were MSRP, and they show you the actual tag price of $130 for the pair of shoes, and it was $28 at Ross. So when it comes to clothing, guys, I think you guys can find great deals. Now, I'm not saying go buy used clothes all the time or anything like that, but you can find some really great deals at places like Ross or TJ Maxx, for example. Money waster number 4, and this one irks me every time I'm out at the bar. But we already touched on alcohol, but this one's more specific to buying alcohol at a bar or a restaurant because the markup on this stuff is insane. If you guys have ever bought a bottle of vodka or whiskey or something like that from the liquor store, compare that to what it costs to buy a single mixed drink or a single pour from that same liquor at a bar downtown. It's insane. I mean, most mixed drinks nowadays go from what? Anywhere from $5 to $15 per drink, depending on where you are and the type of establishment it is. And you could make that same drink at home for probably like $1. So my suggestion to you is never go out with your friends. I'm not saying that, but you guys could opt to maybe do game night at the house where you guys all bring over different, types of drinks, and you can make specialty cocktails at home. It could be fun. Just go on YouTube. You can find all sorts of fun drinks to make. Or just why don't you guys start at one of your houses or apartments, have a couple drinks, then go out for maybe 1 or 2 drinks instead of 5 to 8 drinks out at the bar. Because again, those bills rack up, and you're tipping, right? You should be tipping your bartender or server. So again, those costs add up. Instead of splurging $100 at the bar on Friday night, why don't you just spend maybe $5 at home and then $10 or $20 at the bar? It'll save you guys boatloads of money, and you don't have to sacrifice having fun with your friends. And overindulging in alcohol is bad for you, right? I'm guilty. I drink every now and again, more socially now than anything, but overindulging in alcohol is not good for you. There's just too many studies out there to even disagree with that statement. So if you guys want to cut out alcohol altogether, 1, you'll be healthier, and 2, you'll be financially healthier as well. Money waster number 3, and this is buying the latest and greatest tech devices repeatedly on a consistent basis every year or every other year. You guys know as well as I do, the newest tech devices, they do a great job marketing them because I get super jazzed up every time I see the newest iPhone or the newest MacBook or the newest Samsung product, newest smartwatch, the list goes on. But every single year they say the same exact thing. This is the greatest iPhone ever that mankind has brought to planet Earth, and you need to have it today. The camera is only a little bit better, and the screen resolution is only a little bit better, and it probably will still break if you drop it down, but this is the best durable glass we've ever made on an iPhone. Again, versions barely change year over year. They make it sound like there's big changes, but there's really not. If you guys look at last year's iPhone and this year's iPhone, there's some minor differences maybe in the camera or in the screen resolution, but they're really not super noticeable if you had the iPhone 11 in one hand and the iPhone 12 in the other. Unless it's like critical to your day-to-day work or something to have the latest and greatest, I would just suggest buying, last year's version. If you go on Apple's website right now, it's $200 to $300 cheaper to buy last year's iPhone than this year's iPhone. As soon as the new one's released, the last one goes down by $200 to $300. So if you guys can wait even 2 years between them and buy the oldest version, you'll save hundreds of dollars every single year just by buying the older device. And you can apply this to smartwatches, computers, tablets, things like that. All right, now we're getting down to the wire here. The number two money waster item is buying Starbucks or other specialty coffee drinks, whether it's at a cafe or even at a gas station or something. Buying a canned specialty coffee drink is the biggest waste of money, in my opinion. I've been guilty of this in the past. I don't buy Starbucks, very often at all. I do enjoy going there and getting a drink every now and then, but if you guys go once, or some people even go twice a day, and they're getting specialty drinks like pumpkin spice lattes or something like that, those drinks range from like $3 to $7 or $8 per drink. And then if you get a snack while you're there, or maybe a bottle of water in addition, you end up spending $10 to $20 at Starbucks every single day. This is one of the biggest wastes of money ever that you could do possibly. I mean, make coffee at home. It costs you maybe, I don't know, 10 to 20 cents if you buy coffee in bulk and just do drip coffee. If you guys get bored of drinking coffee with just cream and sugar or just black, why don't you just YouTube different specialty coffees you can make at home? There's tons of great videos out there that people get very creative on making specialty coffee at home for a fraction of the cost. I made a joke about this in a recent video on how to save money, and one of the money saver tips was to make coffee at home. But I was joking because we talked about grabbing a Starbucks drink one time and having different, 10 or 15 different outfits, and then posing in the different pictures with the same cup of Starbucks, because we all know that everyone gets their Starbucks and they have to post on Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. So honestly, that all jokes aside, you guys can save so much money by not buying specialty coffee. If you guys are guilty of this, it's okay. Try to scale back and just think about how much money you spend every week, multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and think about how much money you have spent in the past year or years on specialty coffee beverages. But you guys can probably have so much money saved up just from this one tip alone. All right, money waster number 1, and this one is especially true during the pandemic, and I understand if people are doing this more now than they were before, but this is dining out, but more specifically using delivery apps such as Uber Eats or Grubhub. I actually did a recent video on the best side hustles that you could have in 2020, and one of them was actually being a delivery driver for Uber Eats or Grubhub, Postmates, any of those delivery apps. And the reason being is you literally don't have to communicate with anybody other than in your app, maybe a phone call here and there, but most people opt to have the food dropped off at their front door and do a no contact delivery. And these people are making $20 plus an hour just delivering food from the restaurant to your front door. It's a great side hustle for them, but bad for you guys and your wallet. If you're ordering in every single day or a few times a week, whatever, I'm guilty of this too. If we're feeling, super tired from the day, from working, maybe going to the gym or something, it's getting late, we don't feel like driving and just picking up, doing takeout. We've done Uber Eats several times, but it really frustrates me every single time that I look at the menu and I see, a few different items that we would get and it would cost maybe $20, and all of a sudden the delivery bill ends up being a total of like 40 or 50 bucks. Because I think the food is actually marked up in the app to help pay for the service. There's also a service charge or a service fee, and then you guys should be tipping the driver for their services too. That's how they make most of their money. So all that adds up, and it's a huge markup. And it's not just the delivery apps, but just dining out in general. Think about how much it costs you guys to make a similar meal. I know it may not taste as good as getting it from like the local restaurant who they do it professionally every single day. But if you guys can meal prep or just make food at home, pack your lunch, especially breakfast items, instead of buying a breakfast bagel or sandwich somewhere, you guys can make that. It's so easy to make at home and it'll save you tons of money. So those are the top 10 money wasters in my opinion. Again, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button below if you don't mind. It helps me out more than you know with the old YouTube algorithm and help promoting this video and the other videos in my channel. If you guys haven't already, please do subscribe. I talk all things personal finance, real estate, do some travel vlogs here and there. So if any of that stuff interests you, I'm as transparent as anybody else here on YouTube. So I'm always open about the numbers and you know, again, like today, money saving tips. I'm happy to share those ideas with you guys. So please do subscribe and I will see you guys hopefully in a future video.